They don't care about the future, cause they live it in the past. Sal and Kurt are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than Nick on the keys. Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie and the other one was. Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat. So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know. Episode 4, my friend.
Yes, moving right along, Curtis. Season 1, Episode 4 of Blossom.
Was that the intro, or were we going to do a proper intro?
No, we could do a proper intro.
I never know when we're starting these. We're just jumping in or not.
Yeah, we're just trying to keep it organic.
It's so organic. We were talking about 50 Shades of Grey 2 seconds ago, and now we're talking about Blossom.
Yeah, we missed all the good stuff when we weren't recording. All right, Curtis,
all right.
This week we are talking Season 1, Episode 4, titled Who's in Charge Here? Originally aired January 21st, 1991.
Give us the descriptions from
man, it's a good one this week.
Should you watch it from Disney Plus, what will you be seeing, Sal?
Home Alone, Blossom's imagination runs wild.
Okay. Sure. All right.
Yeah.
The intern really knocked him or herself out again this week for that.
Just great job all around. So
Yep.
A more apt description.
It's like I don't even have to watch the episode now.
Right? Yeah, you pretty much just get it from that. Nick leaves Blossom in charge of home one night while he performs on a cruise ship, and her imagination kicks into high gear when she sees Anthony's new girlfriend Stephanie stealing a family heirloom, but is afraid to tell him for the fear he will be driven back to drugs.
See, that's how it's done. What are the people at Disney doing? What are they doing?
I don't know, man. They're just hiring hacks.
They've got some bot they make watch the first 5 minutes and comes up with some words that make no sense.
Yeah, whatever. It's Blossom's imagination running wild again.
No one's watching Blossom. Can you say Home Alone? I felt like that would be copywritten at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Home Alone's also on Disney Plus, so
Home Alone's on Disney Plus? Home Alone's not Disney, is it? Is Home Alone Disney?
it's Fox, which is owned by Disney now.
Oh, man, that's confusing.
Right? That's why The Simpsons are on Disney Plus.
Yeah, but do you remember that Simpsons episode where they're making fun of Mary Poppins, calling her Sherry Bobbins because they didn't want to get sued?
Yeah.
Wrap that around your head.
I
They
know,
wouldn't
right?
have to do that episode anymore because they could say Mary Poppins because they own Disney. So
Yeah.
that whole episode doesn't work anymore.
That's a good point.
Right?
Do they ever reference Blossom on The Simpsons? They must. They parody everything.
I don't know. Just starting this podcast, I've come to realize I don't think Blossom was that big of a hit.
I don't think so
thought
either.
It was. I've referenced it so many times to people who are like maybe 3 or 4 years younger than me, and they have no idea what Blossom is.
Wow.
Like, target demographic, females have no idea. They've never heard of Blossom. And then I sing the theme song, and it gets weird, and I do the part with the chair.
Sing the theme song to people.
I straddle the chair and lean back, like in the intro. And
right? See, now
nothing.
It's inappropriate when you do it.
See? That's the point I was about to make. Should we start this?
Please.
Poor Joey. He's cooking. He hasn't even done anything, and the audience is laughing at him already because they know he's going to bumble it. Why put Joey in the kitchen if something bad isn't going to happen?
Well, it's not just that something bad is going to happen. He's stuffing a bunch of items into a blender.
Also true.
And his reasoning behind that is that I guess there's a rule in the Russo household that they all have to clean their own dishes. So he decided to condense it all into one. So for breakfast, he's mixing milk, juice, bananas, an egg, and some pie. And Nick says he couldn't be prouder of him.
Okay, you're talking to someone that only had a 52% average in grade 12 algebra. But in this scenario, isn't the blender really just substituting for one plate? I guess other than the milk. Is he really that far ahead having to wash the blender instead of one plate to put all the food on?
Well, I mean, he'd probably have to cook the egg, right? So that would be like at least a pan.
Okay.
Milk and juice would be in separate glasses.
See? 52% average in algebra. This is what I'm getting at. I just looked at that. I was like, that's just, dude, you're just... I'm someone who washes the blender every day, and I hate it. It's the worst thing to clean.
It's such a chore.
I was laughing along with the audience at this moron.
What? Is pie a breakfast thing?
I don't know.
I don't like pie at all. Like, I never eat pie, so I couldn't tell you. But I was like, pie?
Ha! I just noticed 3.14 repeating.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. Woo! It's going to be a long episode, Sal.
I thought...
My jokes are going way over your head.
No, I thought... The way that you reacted, I thought you were going to tell me that your thing wasn't recording this whole time.
No. I just made a pie joke that...
No, I get it now.
Didn't land. I could have gone with the 3.14 repeating or like a rock pie joke, but I made the wrong choice, Sal.
No, it's my bad.
All right. Dad takes a call, and he's passing on a gig. And then he got super aggressive and tells the guy on the phone not to phone him again, and then he hangs up.
Not before he says, don't call him again, capisce.
Yeah, because Nick's also in the mob.
Well, I think Nick is the coolest TV dad.
He's pretty awesome. We'll get into it,
yeah.
But Nick is my favorite character of this episode.
Yeah.
I get Nick now.
Easily.
So he's mad about something, he hangs up the phone, he turns and he hits his head on an open cupboard, and he yells at Joey and Blossom. And says, you want me to poke an eye out? And then Blossom says, well, if you poke them both out, then at least we can finally get a dog, which... Maybe not now, Blossom. Maybe not now. Dad's a little upset, but I appreciated the burn. It was good.
He was the one that opened the cupboard because he threw a roll of paper towels at Joey, and then he forgot that he opened the cupboard and then blamed the kids, and then it's just kind of glossed over after that. Was that supposed to go somewhere?
I think he's just frustrated is what it's showing us. And
fair enough.
Because he's usually pretty cool and collected, and something is definitely wrong in Nick Russo's head.
That's true.
And for the record, I look at the clock. I'm 2 minutes and 2 seconds in, including intro, and I laughed out loud at an episode of Blossom. That's got to be a record.
Yeah.
2 minutes and 2 seconds in, I'm laughing aloud. Episode 4, Blossom, everyone. I also realized Nick Russo has an incredible head of hair. I don't know if I noticed that until now, but
he really does.
Well done. He does. I'm a little jealous. Blossom gets real and asks what's really wrong. Nick says he was offered a week-long gig on a cruise ship to Mexico. And this is where it gets really interesting. Blossom replies, those monsters, which is super hypocritical of her because in the last episode when Blossom was complaining to Six about Elaine, her dad's new girlfriend back then, the same joke plays out where Blossom says Elaine is just too nice and Six was like, that hussy or whatever. So I'm not sure if Blossom just lifted that joke from Six or if someone on the writing team is an absolute one-trick pony and that's all he or her brings to the table is this one joke over and over.
It's probably the latter, but they'll just say that it's the first one. No, it's clever writing. It was really because Blossom stole the joke from Six.
Or else no one has thought this hard about connecting Blossom episode 3 and 4 together in the first season.
I mean, that's entirely possible.
Turns out Nick has weird musical morals. He didn't go to Juilliard to play 3 chords backing a Chuck Berry impersonator. And I pause because this is a moment of reflection right here. This is such a 90s Nick won't sell out moment.
Right.
These moments are a sign of the times. These moments are dead, my friend. I like to think the Nick character is maybe 10, 15 years older than me. And I have no hang-ups about that sort of thing anymore. Like, I'm a radio guy, and if someone was going to pay me a ton of cash to stand there on a cruise ship for a week and say, are we having fun yet? Over and over for 10 days, I would do it. I'd do it in a dog voice if they asked me to. The 90s were different. You couldn't sell out in the 90s. It was a nice reminder of better times when you could turn down well-paying gigs because there was probably another one coming up.
Apparently the money was really good because Nick had a really hard time turning it down.
Yep.
But Blossom is really trying to convince him to go, but he's not sure about it because he doesn't trust the kids alone. Once again, bringing up the fact that Anthony's a recovering drug addict and the other one is Joey.
And then Joey looks up surprised because he heard his name and his chin is covered in his breakfast drink.
Yeah. He's chugging it over the sink out of the blender.
Which I enjoyed.
Well, he didn't pour it in a glass because then he would have to wash another dish, right?
Right?
It's pretty smart on Joey's part, really.
The attention to detail in this show is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I feel like if we did a Full House podcast, we would see mistakes constantly
For sure.
between shots and people acting out of character. I wonder how much freedom they had to do stuff like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd be interested to see like the script for this page and how much of what Joey was doing was just Joey making it up.
Yeah, I don't really know, man.
Interesting fact.
What's up?
We have verification that Blossom is 14 years old. I think that's the first time they've actually stamped an age on the Blossom character.
I think you're right. There's a dispute coming up later on. We'll address it in a bit.
Yep. We have verification that Blossom is 14 because she tries to tell her dad to relax about him leaving her because 14 is old. Some girls have babies at 14, which is not what dads want to hear. It was another funny moment, I thought.
Yeah, he said something like, oh, yeah, that's a great argument.
Yeah.
It's at this point that Anthony walks in, and in this episode, or at least in this scene, he looks like a greaser.
Ever-changing Anthony.
Can they not decide on this guy's style? Is it like, is he a preppy? Is he a biker? Is he a greaser? I don't know.
Are they not doing the everyone cooks a different day now that Elaine's gone? Because he came home with basically just food for himself, so...
True. He comes in very happy. He says, God bless the person who created mini malls. In one place, he was able to get pizza, Thai food, videotapes, dry cleaning, and taps put on his shoes.
Amen, brother. After that speech, I immediately thought, uh-oh, he's on drugs again.
Yeah, right.
No, he was just happy.
Well, that's what Nick thought, too. Nick approaches him and says, yeah, let me take a look in your eyes. And he says he's not on drugs. He's just happy.
Oh, that's right.
All because of a girl that he met at AA.
There's a couple times this show got the jump on me. I'll get to one a little later.
All right, sounds good.
See, a lot of these times I'm making notes before what I say in my notes happens in the show. So right. I get tripped up a few times.
At AA, Anthony met this girl. Her name was Stephanie, who Blossom has met, apparently, and she likes her.
Yeah, I don't know how they met. Blossom go to AA?
Apparently. Anthony basically says that they're dating and he's feeling splendid, which is his word for this episode, and then he leaves the room. It's at this point Joey fakes a stomachache to get out of school. And this was a great bit because you would think that Joey felt sick because of his breakfast, but he was actually just faking it to get out of school when Nick says, well, the cable's out and the Nintendo's broken, then Joey leaves.
I can relate.
Right? If my Nintendo was broken, there's no way I would have played hooky from school.
No, absolutely not.
What a waste of time that would be.
I'm going to get caught up here to you.
Okay.
I wanted to point out another strength of the show is that the first 3 episodes I was able to relate to the kids. And in this episode, I am completely with Nick. He stepped up to raise his kids while his wife took opportunities and followed her dreams. And now he put his foot down and promised everyone he wouldn't be like her. And it's starting to affect his career. So on the principle of what he's doing and the decisions he made, he's going to do the right thing and not follow his dreams, which sacrifices the kids a bit, right? He's not going to leave the kids for an opportunity like his wife did. And that's what being a parent is. You got to sacrifice, and sometimes it really sucks. Props for the writing team for playing that, because the reason he's not going to take this gig is because he's not going to do what his wife did, right? And they don't even really beat you over the head with that, but that's what I got out of that scene, so thumbs up to that.
That's amazing. You're completely right. I didn't get that at all.
That's literally what she did, and the kids hate her for that.
Mind blown, Curtis. Mind blown.
Even though it's an easy gig, and it's for a lot of money, but out of the principle of he's not going to be like her, it's just not, he's not going to do it.
Right, he's not going to leave his kids.
I feel like we should keep track of this. The forgotten people. Bobby, Elaine, and apparently Agnes so far. Right?
Anything to bring up Bobby. Still talking about Steven Dorff 2 episodes later.
I feel like the breakup between him and Blossom has been harder on me.
That's what I said last time.
It's been 2 episodes and I'm still not over it, and she is. Yeah.
Oh, Curtis.
The one thing you forgot to mention was Anthony says, quote, you meet someone someday and suddenly, bam, the air smells sweeter, the grass is greener, and the hunchback selling newspapers on the corner is standing just a little straighter. You might think that's a dated, cringy line, but strap yourself in for where we're going in about 10 minutes, my friend.
I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. You took note of the one coming, believe me.
All right, fair enough.
Or else you repressed it already.
But
so far, the poor hunchback selling newspapers on the street is standing a little taller because Anthony is splendid.
Right.
All right.
Anthony's in a good mood.
Nick decides he's going to take the gig after all. Imagine being the guy that just got hung up on, basically, and was told never to call again, being called back 10 minutes later by Nick, assuming he hasn't called anyone else yet.
Right. Just being like, yeah, you know, I think I'm going to take that gig after all. He's like, you basically told me to go screw myself.
Right? But that's showbiz, baby.
You said capiche. I thought you meant business, man.
Capiche is so final.
I know, right? Nobody says
Right?
that anymore.
No, not unless you're serious.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start saying it from now on.
Well, I certainly wouldn't mess with a guy who said capiche.
I'm going to ask for a raise tomorrow and then go, capiche? So he asks Blossom to take charge of the house in his absence.
Yeah.
Because Anthony has a head full of problems and Joey has a head full of hair.
That's a great line. In the living room, Joey's leaving for school, and Nick catches him before he heads out the door and says basically the same thing that he said to Blossom in the prior scene, was that he's going to take the gig and that while he's gone, he wants Joey to be in charge.
He's played a dangerous game, my friend. We go to Blossom's bedroom, and she and Six are painting their nails, and I made a note to myself to see how quickly Six can make a sex reference, but nope. It's Blossom,
right?
Who comes up with a scenario where she ends up with Johnny Depp's love child, which completely throws off my theory last week about how the Blossom character is all about growing up mentally, while the Six character is all about growing up physically.
I was thinking that exact thing when she said it, and I wrote in my notes, did they switch roles this week?
I wrote, turns out Blossom, just as thirsty.
She's totes thirsty for Johnny Depp.
Right?
All right, let's rewind to the beginning of this scene. So while they're painting their nails, Six says that they should be embarrassed with how they're spending their night while her dad's away. So then Blossom comes up with a scenario where they hear a crash outside, and Johnny Depp's on the front lawn, and they take him inside, clean his wounds, and then Blossom carries his love child.
Yeah.
Which is the odd joke for Blossom to make. This seems like it'd be right up Six's alley.
Absolutely. That's why it was, once again, gave the writers props.
Right?
I'm still waiting for these characters to become caricatures or stereotypes.
Right.
And they never give it to me. Not yet, anyways.
Well, it's still early days, right? You never know. But
yeah.
It feels like, as good as this episode was, it's like they're still trying to figure out where the characters will land.
Maybe I'm giving them more credit than they deserve. Maybe all this is happening by accident now that you pointed it out. But yeah, I really felt that Blossom and Six, it was like they messed up lines.
It's at this point Anthony walks in and he says that he has to change his shoes. So can Blossom go downstairs and keep Stephanie company while she's waiting?
Any thoughts on that?
No. What do you got?
Well, how long does it take to change shoes?
That's true. Also,
why does he have to get his sister to babysit Stephanie? But then I was like, you know what? I'm not in AA, so I don't know. Maybe Stephanie hates being alone for more than 2 minutes. I don't know. But I thought it was weird that he needed someone to talk to his girlfriend while he changed his shoes.
Yeah.
To me, that's a 30-second task.
Yeah, really. And why aren't his shoes by the front door?
Yeah, where does he... This sounds very suspect.
Yeah.
Anthony totally doing rails off the back of the toilet tank.
Yeah, she should be watching Anthony.
Right?
Oh, man. All right. Well, because Blossom painted her toes, she's walking on her heels very quietly down the stairs.
Oh, that
What's
answers
up?
so many questions. Nah, because, yeah, later they're taking tiny steps, and I have no idea what the hell is going on. But yeah, they painted their toes, okay.
Yeah, they're
Sorry,
painting their
keep
toes,
going.
and they had those things
Yes.
in between their toes.
Gotcha.
So that's why, like, Blossom's kind of, like, sneaking down the stairs quietly enough that Anthony's girlfriend Stephanie doesn't hear her.
See, that's good writing.
Right? That's what I thought.
That's doing an unnecessary amount of work.
Exactly, yeah. When Blossom comes down the stairs into the living room, she notices Stephanie walking around, and Stephanie picks something up off of the table beside the couch and puts it into her purse. Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. Blossom goes back upstairs and relays this to Six. Turns out it wasn't just something, it was a Little Richard pepper shaker.
Yeah.
Something Little Richard gave her dad. And I get it. The collector in me was excited by that and immediately was like, dude, that's got to be at least $120 on eBay.
You were pricing it out in your head as you were watching it.
I was like, yeah, that's probably not a bad thing to steal in that house. I mean, I don't know why it's just laying there, but whatever.
Well, I wanted to know why a pepper shaker was in the living room.
That's where they keep the pepper shaker. All shoes are on the 3rd floor.
The Russo's house is just very unorganized.
Right.
So they're pacing around funnily on their heels again because they painted their toes, and she's telling Six what happened.
And then here we go. Here comes the darkness. Here comes the sadness. Here comes the hashtag 1991 humor. Blossom says to Six, "My brother is dating a girl who's a thief." Six replies, "It could be worse. He could be dating a guy who's a thief." My heart breaks.
Yeah.
I'm sad. That is terribly offensive 30 years later. And I would say so far that sits atop the throne of unfortunate dated references for the first 4 episodes of Blossom.
I think you're right. Yeah,
I'm surprised
that joke would not fly on any TV show today.
No, we would have canceled Blossom before that line was finished.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm honestly surprised they didn't beep that out or something. Knowing what we know now about acceptance, that's actually a pretty horrific line.
No, but that kind of thing was... It seemed very common at the time, though, too, because, like...
Oh, absolutely.
If you go back and watch any old Friends episode, like, it's very homophobic.
I guess I just haven't seen it for a while.
Yeah, well, if you ever go back and watch it, there's a lot of things that are, like, very homophobic.
Really? I don't remember that. I thought this was unusually pointed. Like, this wasn't even clever.
No, not at all.
He's dating a thief who's stealing from your family downstairs right now, but at least he's not gay. I was like, man, no.
Yeah, there's no upside to that whatsoever. Like, it's not.
No, there's just like, there's no payoff. It's not even clever.
Yeah.
So thumbs down for that.
Yeah, no, that really stood out as something that would definitely be canceled today.
So they go downstairs to Stephanie, who has a really peculiar little voice.
Yeah.
It was really distracting. I don't know what the actress was thinking projecting that. But she basically says, Anthony's taking her to bingo tonight. And then she's like, bingo? What a trip!
Is she horribly playing somebody who's high? Like, I didn't understand. She was very odd. Stephanie was played by an actress named Niall Lanning.
Yes, she was.
Who didn't have a lot going on.
She was on MathNet! MathNet, my friend!
Yeah, okay. Is that interesting?
No. I don't know what that is. It looked like the worst show I'd ever seen.
I know, that's what stood out to me too, and I wrote this down. It was called Square One Television. She was in 5 episodes as a character named Trudy Ebtide. And Square One Television was a kids' anthology show that humorously illustrates various elements of mathematics. And there is no way my parents would ever be able to sit me down in front of that one as a kid.
No. And then she was on a Tales from the Dark Side episode where she was credited, but they didn't include a picture of her.
Ouch.
On the website. Then I think she kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Yep.
I was hoping there was some... I guess hoping's not the right word, but I figured that's where the sadness would come, was with this actress, but no. She's pretty unremarkable.
Poor Niall Lanning.
Well, I don't know what she's doing in this episode. She's channeling somebody, and I don't know who it is.
I was having a hard time figuring that out as well.
It's very distracting the way she's talking. Maybe that's her voice in real life. I don't know.
We're really sorry, Niall Lanning.
Well, and it's probably best you quit acting. Right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's be honest. Okay.
So, Anthony and Stephanie leave on their date. Did I miss anything?
Well, he asks if Blossom and Six want to come. He says they probably have enough numbers at bingo. And I laughed at that for some reason. Because it was such a dumb joke, but I don't know why.
It's a dad joke.
Yeah, that's fair. That's probably why I laughed at it.
You kids better hurry up and get to bingo. They might run out of numbers.
If I was in the audience, I would have laughed so hard at that. They can't run out of numbers.
Oh, you know what I forgot to talk about? I think it's in the first scene where Joey is putting all the food into the blender, but Somebody in the audience laughed way too hard at that gag.
Yeah.
You could hear some guy just losing his
He had just done that this morning. When they turned down the invitation to go to Bingo, Blossom says they're just going to stay home and take inventory, which I enjoyed.
I didn't even catch
That's
that.
funny. Yeah. That was her excuse. They were going to stay home and take inventory of everything in the house.
That's a good joke. I like that.
And then, this is what I love about this show. Honestly, this is why I am actually in love with the writing so far. We have the ex-drug addict who's dating a girl he met at AA who is stealing from the house, and they're off to play bingo. And where does this heat fall on? How about Beatles fans? For no reason.
Right?
Six says maybe Stephanie only steals Little Richard memorabilia. Beatles fans are like that. What? What? No one's safe. No one's safe on this show. You don't even see it coming.
Yeah, they don't care, man.
The shots they take are so random. So odd.
Yeah, it's like, who do the writers hate?
I like to think they were kind of like us, where they were writing this show and at the same time trying to see what they could get away with. Obviously, the last joke we highlighted was a fail, but stuff like this was like, yeah, you know what? Screw Beatles fans. I'm going to work that in this week.
Amazing.
I like to think that's how it went. And they were probably all smoking Marlboros in the writing room, 1991.
Oh, for sure they were. Oh, man, different times.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
Joey comes in hot and says he's thinking, and Blossom says, so that's what the burning smell is, which is actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Joey, who's 15,
yes,
you find that out right here, took their dad's car to the mall, and it was stolen. And I wrote, did they check Stephanie's purse, and laughed to myself.
That was a great line from Six. I laughed out loud at that one, too.
I wrote that, and then 30 seconds later, Six said it.
Oh, you wrote that?
Yes, no, I wrote that.
That's awesome.
That was my joke.
Well done.
It was hilarious. I was so excited to drop that line on the podcast.
That's
and
awesome,
Six took
man.
it from me.
I was going to say about them referencing that Joey's only 15. 2 weeks ago, in the prom episode, weren't him and Bobby 16?
Oh, kind of think they were, actually.
Yeah, I think they said that they were 16.
Bobby was 2 years older than Blossom,
Yes.
which that would line up.
Unless Joey's a year younger and they just hang out.
Yes, that's possible. Maybe Joey's so dumb he lost a year.
Could be.
I'm just doing some math here, too. So you're trying to tell me Blossom's 14, Joey's 15, so let's say Anthony's, 19?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. When I was a kid, I always thought Anthony was like 30.
I don't know. I don't think he's that old.
Now I don't think he is, but it's hard to tell.
I was doing that math to say this. At one point, their mom would have had a 5-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a baby. And I mean, I wouldn't have left, but I f***ing get it.
We've all thought about it.
I'm bringing the darkness this week. So Joey wanted to impress Kirsty. Kirsty is a great old-fashioned 90s gal name.
Yep.
And this is where Six says they should have checked Stephanie's purse. And come on.
Brilliant.
Right?
Such a good line.
Yeah. This is also where Joey and Blossom realize Dad left them both in charge. All these things are coming together and playing out. Blossom calls the police.
Joey basically tells Blossom to take care of it because, well, she's in charge. So Blossom calls the police and finds out that the car is at the police impound lot and says that they need somebody with an ID to come and get the car back. Did you write this moment down, Curtis?
A little bit.
You didn't write this momentous occasion down? Seriously?
Okay, no, hit me. Hit me. My notes are all over the place. You're freaking me out.
We get the first whoa of the series from Joey.
Yes. I thought you were going to talk about the borderline offensive accent Blossom's doing into the phone.
No, was that an accent or was that an old lady voice?
I don't know what she was doing. I couldn't tell. I couldn't get a read on it. And Joey says he parked too close to the curb because all the handicap spots were taken.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have laughed, but I did. Six says someone has to go and get the car back. And yeah, it's there. We get the first whoa by Joey. Well done.
It finally happened. Episode 4, about halfway through. Joey says, whoa, I'm so dead. He actually kind of said it in the classic way, too. The whoa.
Yeah, so I don't know what that little mini doc we watched was talking about, where Joey Lawrence, 20 years later, claims that they were directing him to do it more surfer.
Like a surfer, like a whoa.
Yeah, when clearly the first one he mutters is the classic way we've all come to love.
Well, I think they said that they had originally written it to be like that, and then he did it that way, and they were like, all right, that's funnier. So
Yeah.
maybe this line was just a throwaway, and they still didn't have whoa yet.
Do you think this is why Anthony is leaning on splendid? Is he trying to make that his catchphrase?
Yeah.
He's getting nervous that the writing team's getting behind Joey. Oh, whoa, this thing's going to be huge, buddy. It's going to take off.
You're going to sell t-shirts with whoa on it. Everybody's going to ask you to say it on every talk show. Anthony's like, well, I better come up with something too.
Yeah, splendid, yeah, huh? And Hollywood's looking at the two of them. Looking at Joey, looking at Anthony, looking at Joey, looking at Anthony, looking at Joey, looking at Joey, looking at Joey, looking at Joey.
And if you want to reverse the roles now, did you know that Anthony was in The Dark Knight?
Oh my god, was he that cop? Oh, I know exactly who he was. Yeah, it was like that weird cutaway of just like a cop. Why do I know that? I mean, I've seen The Dark Knight
Because you've
like
seen the
20
movie
times.
1,000 times.
Right? I proudly saw it 8 times in the theater, but yeah. Is he the guy that says no more dead cops that I make fun of?
Is that him?
Is that him?
I have to look this up right now.
The line of the 2.5-hour movie, the only line I make fun of. Yeah, no more... No, that's totally not. That's more of like a Boston guy that says, no more dead cops. Or is he the guy that Batman kidnaps? Is that him? And he chains him to a chair?
Oh. No, that's not him. He was in one of the clown masks. You don't even see his face.
Oh, come on! God! That's probably not even true. Did you know the clowns under the mask? It was Anthony from Blossom and 4 members of the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, I swear.
Maybe he was the one that was like, where did you learn to count?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he played all the clowns. He got typecast. He's playing a clown on Blossom 30 years ago.
That was a fun detour that we went on.
That was a fun bridge to nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, Joey says Anthony can go get the car. Blossom says Anthony hasn't been outside during the day since he became sober. And I lean back in my chair and scratch my chin. What? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Do recovering alcoholics or drug addicts not go out during the day? So I go to the Alcoholics Anonymous website and I read 40 pages of their most frequently asked questions, and nothing on there is about not going outside during the day. But kind of alarming, number 18, are there any women in AA? Thought that was kind of dark.
Wow.
Yeah. There's got to be darkness creeping in this at some point. So even if I have to create it myself.
We'll get there.
This is a weird COVID moment for me. Nick calls, and Blossom answers, and he asks how it's going, and it's obviously not going well. Right. And Blossom's getting all flustered, and waves over 6, who starts going to create static.
Yeah.
But really, she's just like spitting, like raspberrying all over the side of Blossom's face, and I'm very uncomfortable. Because it's been like, a year since I've hugged someone, let alone had someone go in the side of my face. So
yeah, I mean,
not that it happens often, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm going with that. The lack of personal space and the openly transmitted saliva into the air is
simpler
alarming.
Times, Curtis, man. Simpler
I know,
times.
right?
Like, remember when you didn't have to think about that?
If you're inferring I've never thought about Jenna Von Oy going on the side of my face, you'd probably be wrong. Okay, where do we go?
I don't even know where to go from there.
Blossom lies to her dad and hangs up and says, at least her best friend is coming with her to hell. And 6 replies, she was once locked in a porta potty at a Rolling Stones concert. She's been to hell. Who is that even a shot at? That's a wide net. Was the hell being locked in a porta potty, or was the hell being locked in a porta potty having to listen to the Rolling Stones?
Is it a shot at Rolling Stones fans now? Because there was a shot at Beatles fans earlier. Wasn't that the whole debate, like Beatles versus Stones? It's an ongoing debate, like who's the greatest band, Beatles or Stones?
The writers came to blows that day.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone gets a receipt this week.
Apparently. I would assume the hell is being locked in a porta potty in general.
But why would you include the Rolling Stones part?
True.
I'm just skeptical of all the shots now. and where they're supposed to land.
It's a fair nitpick.
The writers just put on a blindfold and started swinging. That's how it feels sometimes. And I love it. I'm there for it all day.
Are you ready for a next big moment in the next scene, Curtis?
I am ready for the loudest I've laughed at this show yet.
Wow.
Yes, go for it.
Did you take note of the big moment, like right away at the beginning of this very next scene, though?
I absolutely did.
We get our first Blossom hat.
What did I write about this? It said, Blossom goes to Stephanie's apartment, and here we have our first weird hat worn by Blossom.
Stephanie opens the door. She's in a wedding gown. And it's revealed that her and Anthony are getting married in her apartment.
Yes.
And here is another big cameo for the show. Who walks out? It's Little Richard.
The man who sang America the Beautiful at WrestleMania 10.
Yes. And did nothing else with his career.
And now it makes sense. That's why she took the Little Richard thing from the living room. It was all part of a big secret plan to get married by Little Richard.
Right.
All right, I'm digging the swerve.
And I just had a question about, the show's only 4 episodes in, and they've had some pretty big cameos so far. Were they even popular enough to do this 4 episodes in? Or did a lot of people just owe Paul Jungerwit a lot of favors?
Maybe both. I feel like they really loaded the first season, though, and it's probably what you had to do back then.
I guess so.
It wasn't on a good time slot, which makes me believe the network didn't have a whole lot of faith in the show. So I'm sure the producers called in a bunch of favors and stacked it with cameos, and I'd do the same thing if you have these people, if you have access to these people.
Absolutely.
Right?
4 episodes in and there's all these cameos, which is just crazy to me. Season 1 of a show starting out, and they have all these big names. I'm just wondering who owes the producer favors. Be like, come on, come do Blossom.
The Jungle Man himself, he's very persuasive. So Little Richard suddenly comes in. He makes his big appearance. Does he say something like, sorry I'm late or something, but he came in from the bedroom?
Yeah.
Because there's only one way in and out of the apartment.
Yeah, he walked in from the other room.
So I scratched my head a little bit at that, but thought really nothing of it. Because Anthony is marrying Stephanie. Blossom says, Anthony, you have to stop this. And Little Richard goes into beast mode and just absolutely screams, shut up, at Blossom. And I had to press pause. I was laughing so hard.
Right.
I was not expecting that.
No.
When celebrities play crazy versions of themselves, it is a thing of art.
Oh, yeah.
And this one may have been my favorite.
Yeah, this was awesome. And Blossom's reaction to it, too, was great.
Oh, yes. The way she just kind of like puppy dogs, but at the same time is trying not to laugh because Little Richard just tore a strip off her. That played out so perfect.
I just want to say props to Mayim Bialik.
Yeah.
Obviously, Blossom is what kickstarted her long career in television. She was on Curb Your Enthusiasm and obviously Big Bang Theory, and now she's gone on to other things as well. But, man, she was great in this show. Especially as a kid actor, she was really good.
She reads the scene very well.
She does, yeah.
That's funny you mention that because I really noticed that in her reaction to Little Richard screaming at her.
It was awesome.
She's not angry. It's the perfect reaction, and a reaction I never would have thought of giving in that scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's owning this.
Totally. Props to her, man.
Glad you said that. Props to her.
Little Richard then, in his rant, says, the Beatles stole his music, Elvis stole his hairdo, James Brown stole his scream, and he believes that Smokey Robinson stole his Swiss Army knife. He doesn't have the proof, though.
I love him playing insane.
Yeah.
And the best part about Little Richard is I don't know that he's acting. He might be like this. I don't know.
I remember as a kid, Little Richard doing a lot of cameos and things, and I feel like he was the same in everything.
And then I'm wondering what's going on because you would think Blossom would be putting 2 and 2 together at this point going, she took the Little Richard pepper grinder, Little Richard's officiating the wedding. I should probably take a beat and really think about why Stephanie would have taken this. It seems like there's a logical excuse at this point, or a logical explanation. But Blossom doesn't back down, and I'm starting to wonder what's going on here. He asks if anyone has any reason to not let them be wed. They do that line. And then he tells her to basically shut up a second time.
Yep.
Because Blossom starts to talk, and I'm still just, almost clapping along to this scene. It's so good.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. Their back and forth is great. Then Anthony gets all stressed out and says that he wants scotch, beer, or drugs.
Yeah, that's a natural progression.
Yeah, right?
I'm not a recovering addict, so I don't know about these things, but he's looking for drugs on top of her desk. I don't know. Maybe that's where you keep drugs normally. Then the marriage goes ahead. Blossom and Little Richard go to a super weird place where they kind of rap battle each other with the call and answer of Little Richard yells back and forth.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, what is happening? This goes on so long, I'm looking for drugs on top of my own desk.
Right?
And then...
Swerve! It was all a dream.
Full disclosure, I was not expecting that.
Really?
I thought this was real. Honest to God, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I showed this scene to my wife because I was laughing so hard, and she goes, "Is this a dream?" I was like, "No, we're done. Pause. Go do something else."
I figured from the beginning it was a dream, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
I totally didn't. I guess that's embarrassing, but yeah,
Well, no, okay, I can't say from the beginning. As soon as Little Richard walked out, I was like, okay, it's a dream.
Wow, I really thought that's where this was going, where they were going to get married by Little Richard, and all this made sense. But I wasn't really looking at the time, because that's something that would happen at like the 20-minute mark, I guess.
Right.
Nah, they played me for the fool. I was just so excited about Little Richard, like, shut up! That I was just willing to go wherever they would take me at that point.
Great scene. It might be the best scene so far in the series.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's been my favorite scene so far.
Yeah, so Blossom wakes up in her bed doing the Little Richard scream, which freaks Six out, who's sleeping on her floor.
How warm was that memory, hey? Sleeping on the floor of your friend's room when you have a sleepover?
Yeah, with sleeping bag and good times. So the next scene, Blossom's in the kitchen with Stephanie, and this is where she confronts her about stealing the Little Richard pepper mill. And Stephanie replies she thought it was Billy Joel.
And even her body language is weird. In the establishing shot where she's leaning against the counter drinking coffee, it's not normal, and her voice isn't normal, and she doesn't know how to stand. I have so many questions about this actress.
Yeah.
No woman stands against a counter like that. It's just, yeah, it's weird. Weird.
She says that her and Anthony just got in, and then she just bails on the scene. As she's talking to her, she's trying to convince Blossom very persistently that she's not on drugs. And it's like, Blossom, you have to believe me. And Blossom's like, all right, yeah, you told me that you're not on drugs. I believe you. First of all, it seems like a really heavy subject for a 14-year-old to be dealing with.
Yeah.
Like, how would she know what somebody on drugs is like anyways? Like, how would she be able to tell the difference?
Well, she's got a druggy brother.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I get what you're saying.
Stephanie then reveals that she steals things to pay for her therapy, and it's not for drugs.
I also should point out, I feel like Blossom's already kind of dead inside because of the hand life's given her.
True.
Even though she forces anger, a lot of that probably is just a defense mechanism.
She was forced to grow up very quickly.
Yeah.
Based on her circumstances.
You nailed it.
Stephanie guilts Blossom by asking her to keep it between them because she gives her the pepper mill back. She kind of guilts her by saying, oh, well, you know, your brother Anthony speaks very highly of you, so don't tell him what happened. And she also stole Blossom's watch.
Which was kind of funny. Where Blossom was kind of like, I have a watch just like that. She's like, yeah, this is it. And she's like, yeah, no, this is actually your watch.
It's yours. No, I couldn't take it from you. No, literally, it's your watch.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah. Now Blossom feels guilty that she can't tell Anthony what happened because obviously Stephanie did a good job of making her feel horrible about the whole situation, even though it's not her fault. And then she just bails. She just leaves. She was waiting for Anthony downstairs, and then she just ran away once she was confronted.
We're back in the living room. Joey comes in hot and says the line, "You think you have friends until you ask them to come to the police station and lie for you." And that's a clap right there. The writing! Then here comes Anthony. He and Stephanie broke up.
Yes.
Anthony thinks she's been using drugs again, and then he puts Blossom on blast for knowing something was up and not saying anything to him.
And I wrote, again, all the problems of this episode could have been solved if Blossom had just communicated it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a constant, is that Blossom really just needs to talk to her dad and brothers about what's going on.
Yeah.
But then there wouldn't be a show.
We wouldn't have a sitcom. So what you're saying is there was a big misunderstanding.
Yes. A misunderstanding led to chaos in the Russo household.
The hits keep on coming, my friend. Nick's home early. The impersonators got into a big fist fight, and Fabian got hurt. And they say, the Fabian impersonator? And he says, nah, They got the real Fabian, which is a huge dig at the old singing star Fabian.
I wrote burn on Fabian.
And then I looked up Fabian to see what his story was, and yeah, he did not have a very celebrated career.
No, he was like a teen idol in the 50s and 60s, and then probably kind of fizzled out from there. So by the time this show aired in 1991, it's pretty believable that he would be performing on a cruise ship.
I checked 2 or 3 websites really quickly, and the reoccurring word was unremarkable. So yeah, you know what?
Take that, Fabian.
Let's kick Fabian while he's down, huh? Did you think you were getting it from Blossom today? Well, you were. Yeah? Did you wake up today feeling a little bit better about yourself, Fabian? Well, here comes Blossom.
Fabian's still alive. He's in his 70s. I wonder what he's doing.
He's scratching the name of the writers of Paul Junger-Witt and his team all over his one-bedroom studio apartment.
He's been writing Paul Junger-Witt with his blood like Sideshow Bob.
It's like no one scores on Fabian and gets away with it. He's cold calling like Beatles fans. Did you hear what they said? Did you hear what they said?
No one cares, Fabian.
Join me. We must stop the wit.
For the last time, Fabian, stop calling me.
We gotta make it so the wit can't hurt anymore. Yeah, I didn't recognize any of his songs either. I'm someone who likes old like 50s and 60s and 70s songs, and I had not heard of a single one of his hits, in quotations.
I love how Joey says that the cruise got canceled because the Elvis impersonator and the Chuck Berry impersonator got in a fight over who was the real king of rock and roll.
Between the two, definitely Chuck Berry.
Right? Well, Back to the Future said it was Chuck Berry, so I'm going with that.
Joey comes clean to Anthony, who's excited to get the car because Joey's treating him like normal, which is a bit of a mind bend, but sure. Because Blossom wasn't treating him normally by not telling him his girlfriend was nuts.
Right.
But Joey needs him to go pick up the car, and that's treating him normally. But then he realizes he has to go to the police station, and then suddenly it gets real because he hates or distrusts cops from his days as a druggie. This was a little bit of a weird swerve.
And it lasted like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Didn't he actually say, because of my drug past, he's like, I never want to see a police officer again. And then it took about 2 seconds to convince him to do it.
But why is he going to do it? I really enjoyed this. Because Dad left him in charge.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten all about that. Again, props to the writing team.
Call back.
It was a little played out when both Joey and Blossom, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You saw that conflict coming where they were going to find out they were both left in charge, and it played out, but it wasn't really that big of a payoff. But to bring it back this late in the episode, it totally was. I wasn't ready for it. And
it was a nice callback to a joke that we had forgotten about from earlier.
Yeah.
Well done.
It was a great way to wrap all that up.
Yeah.
Sorry, that thing that happened with Dad before was on the telephone, right?
Yes.
Because now he's back in person. He says it was a dream gig because he worked 4 days, got paid for 7, but all the girls looked like Gavin MacLeod.
Yeah. He said initially that the cruise was just like the Love Boat, but the sea was choppy, the food was lousy, and all the women looked like Gavin MacLeod.
And I guess it's American actor and Christian spokesperson Gavin MacLeod's turn now.
Why not?
No one is safe from these writers.
Absolutely not.
Are we dipping into South Park territory here with these random burns? Are manatee just like moving balls around in the water with random names on? It's starting to feel like it.
Sort of. You missed the part when Nick comes in the front door, he's hucking tiny sombreros at everyone.
I completely missed that. I must have been writing.
He's throwing them like frisbees.
Awesome.
He asks how everything went while they were gone, and Joey opens up and tells him the truth. Tells him everything that happened with the car.
Which he looks over at Anthony.
He looks very stunned, and then he turns to Anthony and says, all right, your turn. What happened to you? So then Anthony tells him the truth about what happened to him while he was gone. I didn't really know where this was going.
Yeah, I didn't know either, because it just happened too soon. You'd think normally they would have tried and failed at keeping the truth from him, instead of just coming clean.
Yeah.
They really had no reason to come clean at this point.
No.
Because they were in the clear. So you knew something was up. Sure enough, the dad starts laughing because he doesn't believe them, and he was like, good one, good one.
He says to Anthony first, he was like, oh, yours was good, but Joey's was better. And then he starts laughing, thinking that they're just like getting one over on him.
Yeah.
So all that's cleared up. All their problems were solved and wrapped up nicely, and Nick didn't Well, he did find out, but he didn't believe them.
And then he pitches it to Blossom. She says nothing happened except 6 stayed over on Monday. And suddenly she's in legitimate trouble because she's not supposed to have sleepovers on school nights. And I feel this, man. I feel this. Do you ever anticipate the downfall of like one of your guilty siblings, but somehow they walk away unscathed and your parents blindside you with something that wasn't even on your radar, something you're totally unprepared for, and suddenly you're in trouble when you've been like waiting for your sister or brother to just go down all day? I hate that.
Yeah, it's one of the BS parts about having siblings when you're a kid.
Right? Oh, so I felt that.
Yeah.
And then Joey, of course, steps back in and throws her under the bus and is like, I tried to tell her, Dad, and hugs Nick, which I appreciated.
And that's a wrap on this one.
Yeah.
I felt like the show really came back in this episode.
Yeah, I thought the show came back last week, and this was a good continuation. We've really only had one misstep so far. I would love to know the story of the writing in episode 2.
Right.
Because it's been the odd one out 100%. It doesn't even feel like a Blossom episode.
Not at all. No, as compared to the other 3, not at all. But I thought this episode was great. I thought the writing was very funny, and I liked it.
It's starting to loosen up a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the writing is still on point, but yeah, all the random jabs they took, like the Rolling Stones may have got it, the Beatles got it, Fabian got it, Little Richard kind of got it.
Yeah, it's still to this day holds up pretty well.
Absolutely. The homophobic joke was uncomfortable and unfortunate, but other than that, it was a pretty darn good episode.
This episode was completely different from what I thought it would be. I thought it would be Nick's going away and there's a party at the house and...
Right?
I thought as soon as Anthony's girlfriend came in, it would be like she'd convince them to have a party. And
that's exactly what I was expecting too. And their house is going to be full of drug addicts.
Yeah.
It's never the lesson you expect to learn.
No, they've managed to do a good job of differing from the normal sitcom-y topics.
They zig when you're expecting a zag.
Exactly.
It was a great episode.
Yeah, man. I really enjoyed this one.
I never thought we'd be singing the praises of Blossom like we are, but I'm enjoying each episode immensely. I felt this was definitely the Nick episode. I found him more relatable as a parent and kind of colored him in a little bit.
Well, he's TV's coolest dad.
Is that a title you bestowed on him?
Absolutely.
Oh, all right.
I'll claim that. Compare him to any other 90s TV dad. Who was cooler than Nick Russo?
It's true. I'm trying to think. Definitely wasn't Danny Tanner.
No.
Definitely wasn't Carl Winslow.
Nope.
Phil Banks could scat, but he was no Russo.
Uncle Phil was the best. I have no qualms with Uncle Phil. He's up there for sure.
He's no Nick Russo. I think I gotta give it to you. I think we should leave it at that.
All right, man. Next week, we're breaking down Season 1, Episode 5. It's titled Sex, Lies, and Teenagers.
No! We're gonna do it.
We're gonna learn another lesson, Curtis.
But not the lesson you're expecting. It probably has nothing to do with any of those 3 things. That's showbiz, baby.
You said capiche. I thought you meant business, man.
Capiche is so final.